Welcome, beautiful damsels. The loudest noise in the room is often the sound of nothingness. In a world obsessed with selfies, small talk, and social climbing, there's one type of woman who's quietly stepping away from the crowd, and not because she's shy or antisocial. The Sigma female, a rare breed of independence and mystery, doesn't avoid social gatherings because she can't fit in. She avoids them because she sees right through them. Did you know that humans spend, on average, 7 years of their lives engaged in small talk? For a Sigma female, that's 7 years too many. She'd rather invest her time uncovering the secrets of the universe, building an empire, or, let's be honest, enjoying a good book and some peace and quiet. So why does this fiercely independent archetype shun the spotlight of parties and social events? The answer isn't what you think. It's not about introversion, anxiety, or awkwardness. It's about survival in a world drowning in superficiality. Buckle up, because the truth isn't just hard, it's brutally refreshing. And fair warning, if you love cliches and sugar-coated realities, this one's not for you. Ready to dive in? Just don't expect small talk. We left that at the door. Number 1. They see through performative hospitality. Sigma females have a remarkable ability to detect when something isn't as genuine as it seems, and social gatherings are often ground zero for performative hospitality. These are the events where smiles are practiced, laughter is exaggerated, and hosts are more focused on appearances than creating a meaningful connection. For a Sigma female, this kind of environment is unbearable. She can spot the ulterior motives in a handshake, the competition lurking behind compliments, and the thinly veiled judgments disguised as casual conversation. To her, performative hospitality is like watching a badly scripted play, one where everyone knows their lines, but no one feels the words. The perfectly curated appetizers, the "so happy to see you" greetings, and the overly enthusiastic hosts feel less like genuine warmth and more like a show. Sigma females don't want to be part of a production. They crave authenticity, raw, unfiltered, and messy if need be. This doesn't mean she's ungrateful for a gesture of kindness or an invitation. It's that she can feel when hospitality is being used as a tool for validation, social clout, or control. She doesn't want to be the prop that makes someone else's social narrative complete. To her, a simple, heartfelt conversation in a quiet setting holds more weight than any extravagant gathering dripping with pretension. It's not just skepticism, it's her way of protecting herself from environments where appearances matter more than substance. She sees through the false niceties, the obligatory invites, and the shallow connections, and she refuses to play along. Why should she? A Sigma female values truth over theatrics, and she'd rather sit at her own table alone than pretend to enjoy a meal served with ulterior motives. Number 2. Social gatherings feel transactional, not authentic. For Sigma females, social gatherings often feel less like opportunities for connection and more like a series of unspoken trades. Beneath the surface smiles and polite exchanges, there's often a transactional undertone that makes her uncomfortable. Conversations become negotiations in disguise. What can you do for me? Or, how can I use this interaction to my advantage? To a Sigma female, this kind of dynamic feels hollow and exhausting. She doesn't want to be sized up as a resource or a stepping stone in someone else's social climb. Whether it's networking disguised as small talk or superficial bonding aimed at extracting information, Sigma females see these interactions for what they are: deals wrapped in the guise of relationships. To her, this lack of authenticity makes the entire experience feel more like a marketplace than a meeting of minds. What frustrates her most is that these shallow exchanges often masquerade as genuine interest. Compliments might be veiled attempts to gain favor, and invitations may come with unspoken expectations. It's not paranoia, it's pattern recognition. Sigma females value sincerity above all else, and when they sense it's missing, they instinctively withdraw. This doesn't mean Sigma females are antisocial or incapable of connecting with others. Quite the opposite. They thrive in deep, meaningful conversations. What they reject is the obligatory mingling and the unspoken quid pro quo that dominates most social gatherings. For them, authenticity isn't optional, it's essential. And if they can't find it in the room, they'll leave before becoming just another player in a game they have no interest in playing. Number 3. They're selectively intense about energy expenditure. For Sigma females, energy is not an endless resource to be squandered. It's a finite currency that must be spent wisely. Social gatherings, with their often chaotic dynamics and unspoken demands, require more emotional energy than they are willing to give. It's not that they can't handle the hustle of small talk or the crowd's buzz. It's that they see no point in investing themselves in situations that offer little in return. A Sigma female approaches her life with intentionality. Her time and energy are reserved for people, projects, and moments that resonate with her deeper values. To her, showing up to a gathering just to be seen or to fill an evening feels like a betrayal of her own priorities. She is intensely aware of how certain interactions drain her, leaving her feeling depleted rather than fulfilled. Instead of spreading herself thin across meaningless exchanges, she focuses her energy on the areas of her life that truly matter, whether that's building a passion project, pursuing personal growth, or nurturing a close and trusted relationship. This doesn't mean Sigma females never attend social events. When the gathering aligns with their values or involves people they deeply care about, they'll make the effort. But even then, they're discerning about how much of themselves they'll give. They might slip away early or engage with only a select few who ignite genuine conversation. For them, the measure of a good interaction isn't how long it lasted or how many people were involved, it's how meaningful and authentic it felt. By being so selective, Sigma females safeguard their energy for what truly enriches their lives. They don't see this as avoidance, but as a form of self-respect. After all, why waste energy on fleeting encounters when it could be invested in something extraordinary? Number 4, fake personas are intolerable to them. For Sigma females, fake personas are not just annoying, they're intolerable. They possess an almost uncanny ability to detect pretense and insincerity in others, making the performative nature of social gatherings feel unbearable. At these events, people often put on masks, presenting curated versions of themselves to impress, fit in, or gain favor. This superficial behavior grates against the Sigma female's core need for authenticity and depth. She doesn't just see through these facades, she feels them. Whether it's the overly enthusiastic laugh that doesn't reach someone's eyes or the forced compliments that drip with ulterior motives, she can't ignore the gap between what people say and what they truly mean. This hypersensitivity to falsehoods makes her uncomfortable in environments where people prioritize appearances over substance. It's not that she judges others for adapting to social norms or playing along. She understands that many do so to survive or navigate societal expectations. But the Sigma female simply cannot operate in the same way. To her, pretending to be something she's not, or engaging with someone who's clearly not being real, feels like a betrayal of her own authenticity. She values sincerity above all else, and thrives in spaces where people are unfiltered, even if that raw honesty is messy or unconventional. This is why she often opts out of social gatherings entirely. She knows they're breeding grounds for performative behavior, where status games, one-upmanship, and hidden agendas are the norm. For a Sigma female, these interactions are emotionally taxing and ultimately unfulfilling. She'd rather spend her time in smaller, more honest settings or alone, where she doesn't have to question anyone's motives or mask her own true self. Authenticity isn't just a preference for her, it's a non-negotiable. Number 5. They value freedom over obligation. For Sigma females, freedom is their most cherished possession, and social invitations often feel like subtle threats to that autonomy. While many people see a party invite or a casual get-together as harmless fun, Sigma females perceive the unspoken obligations lurking beneath the surface, showing up, staying for a certain amount of time, engaging in specific conversations, and meeting unspoken social expectations. To them, these implicit demands are shackles they'd rather avoid. It's not that they don't enjoy meaningful interactions or value relationships. They do. But the moment an event feels like an obligation rather than a choice, it clashes with their fiercely independent nature. Social gatherings often come with strings attached, like having to explain why they didn't attend the last one, or enduring judgment for leaving too early. These pressures make them feel cornered, as if their personal freedom is being compromised for the sake of tradition, appearances, or someone else's expectations. Sigma females thrive on the ability to decide how, when, and with whom they spend their time. The structured nature of social events, where there's often an unspoken right way to behave, feels suffocating. They don't want to be bound by the rules of politeness or the need to impress others. They'd much rather spend their time doing something that aligns with their goals or recharges their energy, even if that means staying home in solitude. For a Sigma female, freedom is about living on her own terms. She rejects the idea that she must justify how she spends her time or meet the expectations of others. Invitations that come with invisible chains aren't seen as gestures of inclusion. They're seen as attempts to box her into a world she has no interest in inhabiting. Her independence is non-negotiable and she protects it fiercely. Number 6. They're turned off by performative positivity. Sigma females have an aversion to anything that feels forced, and performative positivity is a prime offender. Social events often require an ongoing display of cheerfulness, enthusiasm, and good vibes, regardless of how people genuinely feel. For a Sigma female, this is both exhausting and painfully disingenuous. It's not that she's incapable of being positive or enjoying herself, it's that she believes emotions should be authentic, not manufactured to fit the mood of a room. At social gatherings, the pressure to plaster on a smile, laugh at every joke, and act interested in every conversation feels stifling. Sigma females see through this societal expectation to keep the energy up and find it shallow. Why should everyone act happy, even when they're not? Why is honesty about one's mood or feelings often labeled as awkward or unwelcome? For a Sigma female, this constant demand for upbeat energy is both fake and unnecessary. She's especially turned off when she sees others bending over backward to maintain the illusion of harmony. Overly enthusiastic greetings, exaggerated compliments, and the insistence that everyone have fun come across as more of a performance than a sincere effort to connect. These moments remind her why she avoids such settings, because they prioritize appearances over authenticity. Sigma females value real, unfiltered exchanges. If someone's having a tough day, she'd rather hear about that than endure another round of hollow small talk coated in forced optimism. She doesn't see value in pretending to enjoy something she doesn't, or playing along to meet the expectations of others. For her, authenticity isn't just refreshing. It's the only way she knows how to engage. And in environments fueled by performative positivity, she feels like a misfit, further affirming her choice to stay away. Number 7. They're not afraid of being misunderstood. Sigma females know the world often misinterprets their actions, and they're perfectly fine with that. When they choose to skip a social gathering or quietly bow out of group activities, they're aware it may label them as aloof, antisocial, or even arrogant. Yet, unlike many who bend over backward to correct these perceptions, Sigma females don't feel the need to explain or justify themselves. For them, staying true to their values and maintaining their inner alignment matters far more than earning public approval. They understand that many people view social participation as a measure of likability or success, but Sigma females reject this simplistic equation. They don't need external validation to feel whole. They know who they are, and they've come to terms with the fact that others may never fully understand their choices or their boundaries. To them, being misunderstood is a small price to pay for living authentically. This resilience stems from their deep sense of self-awareness. They've often spent years questioning societal norms and evaluating what truly matters to them. So, when someone mistakes their independence for coldness or their preference for solitude as rejection, they see it as a reflection of the other person's perspective, not their own reality. What makes Sigma females unique is their unwavering confidence in this mindset. They don't feel the need to correct the narrative because they're not seeking approval or recognition. If anything, they find power in their ability to remain mysterious and misunderstood, It reinforces their autonomy. For a Sigma female, the freedom to live on her own terms outweighs any need to fit into a social mold. While others may scramble for acceptance, she stands firm, knowing that being misunderstood is a natural consequence of living authentically. Number 8. They're goal-oriented, not people-pleasing. For Sigma females, every minute is an opportunity to move closer to their goals, whether personal, professional, or creative. Obligatory social gatherings, with their unspoken rules of attendance and expectations to mingle, feel like a detour from their purpose. It's not that they devalue relationships or connections, but they have little patience for activities that don't align with their priorities. While others may feel compelled to attend gatherings, to avoid offending someone or to maintain appearances, Sigma females don't fall into the trap of people-pleasing. They know that trying to keep everyone happy is a futile endeavor and a surefire way to lose focus on what truly matters. They believe in quality over quantity, not just in relationships, but in how they spend their time. To them, attending a social event that doesn't contribute to their growth or align with their values is a distraction, plain and simple. This laser focus on their goals often sets them apart. While some might call it selfish, Sigma females see it as discipline. They know that their path requires deliberate choices, and they refuse to compromise their vision for the sake of social obligations. They reject the noise and chase clarity. Large social gatherings are the epitome of chaos, and for Sigma females they represent exactly what they avoid: overstimulation, shallow interactions, and sensory overload. These environments, filled with overlapping conversations, loud laughter, and unpredictable dynamics, create mental clutter that clashes with their need for clarity. Sigma females thrive in spaces where they can think, reflect, and recharge. Crowded gatherings, by contrast, sap their energy and disrupt their inner peace. They view mental clarity as a cornerstone of their success and well-being, and they actively avoid situations that threaten it. It's not just about the noise, it's about the lack of meaningful connection that often comes with it. In these settings, depth is replaced by distraction, and substance is drowned out by superficiality. Sigma females aren't willing to sacrifice their mental clarity for fleeting moments of social acceptance. Instead, they retreat to environments that foster focus and serenity, choosing solitude or intimate settings over chaotic crowds. For them, clarity isn't just a preference, it's a necessity. Number 9. They loathe unspoken social rules. Sigma females have a deep aversion to the unspoken rules that govern social interactions, and it's not because they're rebellious for the sake of rebellion, it's because they see these norms as unnecessary and stifling. The rules everyone else follows without question, like engaging in polite small talk or adhering to unwritten expectations of behavior, feel like a trap to them. These norms, meant to grease the wheels of social interaction, often feel hollow and restrictive. For a Sigma female, engaging in obligatory conversations about the weather or exchanging pleasantries that hold no real meaning is exhausting. It's not that she's incapable of conversing with others. It's that she sees no value in these surface-level exchanges. Why bother with something so superficial when there are far more interesting, genuine ways to connect with others? Small talk doesn't fulfill her, it drains her. And it's not just about small talk. The entire dance of proper social behavior, where there's an unspoken pressure to fit in, look a certain way, or behave according to someone else's standards, leaves her feeling suffocated. She's not interested in playing these games because they often mask true intentions and prevent honest communication. What Sigma females crave is authenticity, both from themselves and from others. They want spaces where the real, unfiltered versions of people can emerge, where they don't have to play by anyone else's rules just to be accepted. Whether it's a quiet evening spent alone or an intimate conversation with someone who's willing to skip the formalities, Sigma females thrive in environments that don't demand they conform to social constructs. For them, authenticity is the ultimate freedom. Number 10. They choose substance over quantity in relationships. Sigma females place immense value on depth and quality, especially when it comes to relationships. To them, Fleeting encounters or superficial connections are not only unnecessary, they're exhausting. They don't view social events as opportunities to meet new people or expand their network for the sake of having more names on a contact list. Instead, they believe that true relationships are built on substance, not on sheer numbers. For Sigma females, a handful of meaningful connections is far more fulfilling than having dozens of shallow acquaintances. They prefer investing time and energy into a few select people who share similar values, interests, or emotional depth. These relationships aren't about impressing or social climbing. They're about genuine mutual respect, understanding, and shared experiences. The idea of networking for networking's sake holds little appeal for them. This mindset extends to all forms of relationships, whether friendships, romantic connections, or professional bonds. Sigma females don't need constant validation or approval from others to feel fulfilled. They're selective about who they allow into their inner circle, and they seek out relationships that challenge them, encourage growth, and foster honest communication. Superficial interactions that revolve around shallow pleasantries don't interest them, and they avoid environments that encourage such exchanges. By choosing substance over quantity, Sigma females create a small, tight-knit circle that supports their personal growth and aligns with their deeper values. They don't see relationships as something to collect or accumulate for the sake of appearances. They see them as precious, valuable connections that must be nurtured and cultivated with care. For them, a few deeply meaningful bonds are worth far more than a crowd of surface-level acquaintances. In a world that often prioritizes social appearances, networking, and fitting in, Sigma females stand apart with their unshakable commitment to authenticity, independence, and self-alignment. They avoid social gatherings not out of fear or isolation, but because they refuse to waste their time on shallow interactions, forced positivity, or meaningless connections. Whether it's rejecting performative behavior, resisting unspoken social rules, or valuing depth in relationships, Sigma females choose purpose and clarity over conformity. They're not afraid to be misunderstood because they know their worth isn't defined by public approval. Ultimately, Sigma females are focused on living life on their own terms, investing their time, energy, and emotional resources into what truly matters to them. For them, a few authentic connections and meaningful pursuits are far more fulfilling than a crowded room full of pretense. In a society that often values quantity over quality, they choose the rare and the real, forging their own path with courage, clarity, and unwavering authenticity. If you found this perspective on Sigma females eye-opening or thought-provoking, don't forget to like, comment, and share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your take on how social gatherings impact your personal choices and how you navigate the expectations of others. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more content that challenges the norm and dives into the deeper aspects of life. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and let's continue this conversation. Your support means the world. Let's grow this community together. Thanks, damsels, for tuning in. See you in the next vid. Bye and stay blessed.